with this story because it's like a major bummer for anyone living in the EU. But I at least wanted to like bring this up. According to Bloomberg, Apple will not be including any of the AI features that they promoted on stage in the EU. What are there, like 27 countries in the EU? Does anyone actually know? It's impossible to know for sure. But because of I almost wanted to call it the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That's obviously not it.
Digital Markets Act.
The Digital Markets Act. Thank you. Because of requirements in the Digital Markets Act, or reportedly because of the requirements in the Markets Act.
Apple is blaming the DMA, but I have my skepticism on that.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, who knows what their actual intentions are? But apparently, because of what Apple says are heightened regulations, that they are just not going to roll out any of the Apple Intelligence features to anyone in the EU. You just will not get them, which of course is a major bummer. I mean, like, these are like the big features of iOS 18, the ones they spent the most time touting on stage, the ones that shot their stock price up after having gone sideways for 2 years, finally broke them through the ceiling and made their stock price go even higher and put college back on the menu for my kids. And it's not just the AI features. Let's see here. iPhone mirroring and SharePlay screen sharing. Let's see here, is also going to be part of the mix that will not make it. I don't know if those services are going to be diminished in some way or if they're going to be completely removed, but I think they're going to be blocked. From Apple, quote, we are concerned that the interoperability requirements of the DMA could force us to compromise the integrity of our products in ways that risk user privacy and data security, Apple said in a statement. The EU DMA forces big technology company platforms to abide by a long list of do's and don'ts. Tech services are prohibited from favoring their own offerings over, this is from the Bloomberg article, by the way, own offerings over those of rivals. They're barred from combining personal data across their different services, blocked from using information that they collect from third-party merchants to compete against them. I feel like I butchered that sentence. I'm not going back. I'm going to keep barreling forward.
It's a long, long sentence.
And now have to allow users to download apps from rival platforms. Okay, so we know all that. As part of the new rules, the EU has designated 6 of the biggest tech companies as quote-unquote gatekeepers, powerful platforms that require stricter scrutiny. In addition to Apple, that list includes Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and probably some others, since that's only some of them. So just want to give you a heads up. Like, that would be a major bummer, man, if I lived in the EU. I mean, I'd be curious to hear from you all if you care or not. Maybe you don't care. Maybe the AI features weren't impressive to you, but I thought that they looked pretty cool. But Teddy Zucchini in the chat, I freaking hate how EU handles tech stuff. I get privacy, but we tend to be overly paranoid. Well, I think some of their intentions are good, but the results are not what they expected. Because when you have laws that are this complex, you don't necessarily know how people are going to react to them or companies are going to react to them. But I also think that Apple might be trying to use these features as a point of leverage to remove something that maybe they actually don't need to remove. This is all pure speculation, so please don't come after me, TC and legal team. In order to build up some kind of outrage among people who live in the EU who will start contacting lawmakers to maybe ease the restrictions that Apple has had placed upon them because of regulators who, let's be honest, are probably Android users anyway. So
But I have to imagine that's the case because, like, the DMA says nothing about Apple has to enable iPhone mirroring on Mac and PC, not just the Mac. Like, that's not in the DMA at all. There's no reason why they're. I struggle to imagine how a read of the DMA would prohibit them from implementing Apple Intelligence or especially iPhone mirroring and screen sharing. Like, that's nonsensical to me. It feels like that's a spiteful move on Apple's part.
Christopher Gavin from the chat, real fast, is saying they're not complex, they're vague, and I think that's the
what I was
problem.
going to say.
Yeah.
They are vague. There are all these weird rules that can be interpreted any way that these people want, and they have this ridiculous what's the fine? They can levy a fine of 10% of Apple's worldwide revenues. That is insane.
Is it really that
And
high?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But it's weird to me that if Apple is scared of breaking, if Apple is scared of that fine being levied against them, why would they drag their feet on every possible technicality and loophole they can regarding to the App Store, but then be all tiptoey and careful about pulling iPhone screen mirroring? Like if that's the logic that Apple's scared about getting that fine and that they're just trying to follow the letter of the law, then they're not even acting consistently between those two major areas.